Welcome back to the Highly Original Podcast. I'm Joe Martino.
Michael Ianieri.
And we are back with episode 15.
15, man. 15. And
the Thanksgiving special, I would
this
say.
this is the best time of year, man. Thanksgiving. I mean, I love it. So much
Is
good
it
food.
It's definitely my favorite holiday along with Christmas, I would say. Would you say it's your favorite holiday?
It's not my favorite holiday, but it's up there. It's up there.
Okay.
It's
What
up
is your
there.
favorite
It's,
holiday? What is your favorite
I feel
holiday,
like I feel like it changes between Christmas and Halloween depending on
though? Okay.
when I'm asked. I feel like it varies. You know what I mean?
No, I got you. Well, guys, I mean, we have a couple updates. As you'll be able to hear by the audio again, we did record this episode remotely again at my house and Mike in the Bryn Mawr studio, because things have taken a turn for the worse for Mike over there. Last week you heard his grandfather had COVID. Well, now Mike has COVID, so Mike is recording. He's record. I am, I'm like kind of feeling bad. Because he says he can do it, but like part of me thinks I'm forcing him to record right now.
And that's what's funny about this for me right now, because Joe feels terrible right now. I don't know if you guys could tell. He feels like he's got like me in like a hostage situation. I can't say no. Like, I feel terrible, but the show must go on. I want to.
Well, yeah. I'm just like I have a suspicion that Mike's just saying, "Oh yeah, I can do it."
Hey,
just
man,
because that's
you gotta rise to the occasion.
But yeah, so that's sort of our kind of update with the podcast. Again, we are selling ad reads now, so if you or someone you know has a small business or startup selling products, or is an artist or a musician wants to get their name out there, DM us and we'll set you up with some fantastic, highly original ads.
Of course. And it's pretty customized. Like you can customize your ad too. You can kind of give us a little bit of what you want us to say. You know what I mean? We'll definitely make that ad you. It doesn't matter what you got. If you're selling homemade gloves, if you're selling music, you're selling mustard, painting. I don't know why I said mustard, but painting works better.
Yeah, artisan mustard. I'm sure, Mike. Honestly, I feel like that's probably a thing.
It is a thing somewhere. It's a highly original form of art.
Highly original condiment.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
That's a shirt idea. That's merch idea.
Yeah. I don't know, Mike. Do you have any updates that you want to share, or?
I mean, you already know we're studio shopping, man. Like, you already know what's going on out here. I mean, I don't know if the audience knows that, but we're looking for a primary studio. Yeah, we're looking for a primary studio. And something caught all of our eye, and I don't know. We're in the very, very beginning stages of that, but we definitely got to get the ball rolling in terms of expanding all of the different brands that we're currently working on. So. That's all I'll give. That's a little insight that I'll give. So stay tuned, I guess. Yeah, stay tuned.
Sometimes I feel like you think I'm like leading you and trying to prompt you to give an update, which I guess sometimes in the past I am, but like as of late, I really am just honestly asking, like, oh, do you have anything you want to add? And
no,
I
feel
like you're like, oh man, what am I like? What?
Like a spotlight,
this
spotlight
thing,
goes
like,
on me.
It's like, what's he want me to say?
I just say 24.
Yeah. So,
like a nervous tone.
Marty, Janice.
We don't have a son. No, that's old. That's old news. That's the last episode, man.
Yeah, that's yeah.
And another thing, real quick, guys, if you keep hearing a squeaking sound, it's my chair. It's my computer chair. It's I don't know. It doesn't sound great. So if you guys hear that, that's what that is. This right here. that noise that I hear when I listen to the podcast. So that's another reason why I want some studio.
Yeah, I mean.
Well, I feel like I could just get a new chair, but that's the update, Joe. That's the update I got.
All right.
Guys, you hear squeaking? It's my chair. Don't think it's like a cat in heat or something. It's just a chair.
All right.
And it keeps making that noise. Oh my god! Now that I say it, I'm done. You go, Joe. I'm done talking.
All right. So our nostalgic topic for today is one of my favorite films, the 2010 film Scott Pilgrim versus the World. So that's our nostalgic topic today, and kind of I think Mike's laughing because we kind of decided in honor of Thanksgiving, Scott Pilgrim, Thanksgiving,
It's great. It's a great little pun there.
Yeah.
Works.
It was between.
I like it.
It was between this and the Hunger Games, guys, and we just felt we didn't need to do as much research for Scott Pilgrim because we had just been doing that one. We were getting ready for that one, so we decided, hey, let's do that one. It's good.
Yeah, it was last minute. But it was a good last minute. That was probably the most intense business decision I think we've had to make so far. Scott Pilgrim, Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Which is saying that we're having a lot of fun,
No, yeah. But kind of to touch on the Thanksgiving topic, Mike, one of my favorite YouTube videos should be making the rounds soon, and that is the one where it's this preacher woman, and she let me know if you've seen it. She's she has like a fundraiser for all these like collecting a food drive for something, and she's like, I got greens, beans, potatoes, tomatoes, chicken, and carrot. Yeah. So like, there's a video where someone took like and put it like a hip hop beat
I know what you're talking
over
about.
her, and they edit it so she's like, it sounds like she's rapping, and she's like, you name it. Like it's one of my favorites, and I'm hoping to see it.
Yeah, I'm glad. I'm glad to see that make.
This coming week.
Right, it's gonna be making the rounds for sure.
Yeah, because it's usually like Thanksgiving and Christmas is that. It's like, it's kind of like a Gregory Brothers remix. Or
something like that. I love all the different Thanksgiving memes that kind of pop up around this time. Videos of.
But more importantly, Mike, than Thanksgiving memes is Thanksgiving traditions. So, I got a couple traditions that I'm ready to talk about, and I thought you could share some as
for
well.
For sure, man.
So as always, you want to go first or should I?
Joe, you know what? I'll go first. Whoa! I just wanted to change it up a little bit. I feel like you were expecting me to say you, and I wanted to make you think I was going right. I made a left.
Okay. All right, then.
I just wanted to.
All right, tough guy, go first. Go first, then. All right.
Change it up a little bit.
Yeah.
We gotta, keep it fresh.
All right.
I think a Thanksgiving tradition that really.
Mr. Big Shot over here.
Look, I'm trying to be cool over here, all right?
I'll stop.
I'll stop. I'm trying to be cool and have COVID at the same time. It's really hard. Nah. Here, you know what? I think.
No, man.
I think I'll give one. You give one.
No. Just go first. Just go first, man. I'm just.
Nah. You sure, Joe? I don't want to upset you. You're forcing me to do this right now. No, I'm kidding. I'm just trying to envision like evil Mr. Turner.
I mean, the damage is done, but like
Look, you know what? I got my grandfather quarantined upstairs. All right, I got the windows open.
Okay.
It's
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, that's great. That's great. Yeah, infect all of Bryn Mawr.
There we go. Nah, to touch on what you were saying about Thanksgiving tradition.
Yeah, let's like, all right, that was a bunch of nonsense.
That was great though. It was great. I think one of mine, my grandmother used to really keep up with them. We don't really do it too much anymore. But my grandmother would always make Italian wedding soup every year, and I remember always rolling the meatballs with her, the little tiny meatballs with her. Man, it was such a great time, and I feel like I got to rekindle that flame, that tradition this year. It's definitely a lot of fun. But usually, like our family all gets together.
It's an intensive preparation for Italian wedding soup.
Right, like it's
Yeah,
a lot of work.
it's not
No,
easy.
it's a couple
Yeah, like
hours of just prep, like getting everything working, and it's good, man. It's good soup though, brother. It's holiday soup for a reason, man. It's banging. Like I don't know how else to put it. Another tradition that we do. We all just kind of get together and like I mean I'm sure everybody does this, but watch a bullshit movie or something like that. Just kind of hang out, and then that's something we don't really do often as a family because we're all so hectic with our lifestyles here.
now, like, do you gather with like your immediate family? Do extended family? Like, what's like a traditional Ianieri like Thanksgiving look like?
A lot of talking, probably like 1,000 different conversations going on at once. It's like so we do a couple different ones actually because my aunt she ends up going with her husband's side on like the actual day of Thanksgiving, so we do an early one with her, my mom's sister, and we
Okay.
probably have like 16, 17, 18 people show up there, and it's like cousins and stuff like that on both my aunt's side and my uncle. Um, and then we do like me, my mother, my grandfather. My grandfather goes to everybody's obviously, but like we'll do ours like on Thanksgiving. Me and my mother, my brother, my sister, my grandfather. Sometime my other aunt. Because I know I have two aunts. One of them are ants. I don't know. I don't want to say ants. I don't want to make it seem like I have like pet insects. Insects. Can't even talk. But yeah, both my aunts do their own thing sometimes, and with my one aunt, she isn't. She definitely comes with us on Thanksgiving.
I was actually just talking to some people about this. I say
You
aunt.
say aunt.
I don't say aunt.
I used to say
Yeah.
aunt all the time, and then I started feeling like, wait a minute, like my brother's name is Anthony. When I talk to him, I call him Aunt. Ants are ants, like the bugs are ants.
Yeah.
But I knew this older British lady, and she would always say aunt. She always sounded so sophisticated, and I just kind of picked it up.
All
Yeah,
right.
but that's
All
a
right.
couple of my traditions, man. Like sometimes also we watch like a good horror movie, usually by my choice. I kind of force everybody to watch like Halloween or Friday the 13th or
Okay.
something like that. I don't know. It's a good time. It's a good time.
All right.
Whether or not everybody watches, it's up to them. But that's what happens. That's
All right. All
What
right.
about you, man? What kind of
Yeah.
Thanksgiving traditions you got going
Yeah.
on in the
So
Martino
yeah.
household?
So the basic layout is we usually go over to my godfather,
Okay.
my Zio. Uh, yeah, he and my aunt they prepare the meal, and as I think many Italian American families do, we have sort of a combined cuisine. Like so, we have a turkey, and we have like a stuffing, but we also have
Okay.
rice stuffing.
Yeah,
You
change it up a
know,
little bit.
and yeah, like, and then we also have escarole soup is what we
Right,
call
right.
it, Italian wedding soup. Uh, but obviously we're making the real thing because we're calling it escarole soup and not Italian wedding soup. No, I'm just playing. I'm just playing. I'm just playing. Like you said it takes a couple hours. It takes my family like two
No
days
way,
to
man.
make
I
ours.
believe it.
So you want to do
Let's
Italian
do it, bro.
food
Let's do
wars
it right
round
now.
two?
Ding, ding, ding. Nah.
No, no. I've actually never participated in making the escarole soup, but
2 days. I'm
I
sure that's delicious.
it is a favorite. It's like 2 days. I think yeah, 2 days or something.
Yeah, no, man. That's probably
Something like
banging, bro.
that. But yeah, yeah, but yeah, I've never made it. But something I do make with my godfather. I usually go the Sunday before Thanksgiving, and he and I have dinner, but we make stuffed olives. And these are not just regular stuffed olives; they are a recipe from my Aunt Teresa's family. Uh, and man, these are amazing. So it's a
Okay.
green olive. You got hot pepper flakes, garlic, uh, Parmesan cheese, uh, breadcrumbs, a little bit of anchovies. They're like
Sound banging.
fantastic.
Sound really good.
And like I feel like the anchovies part turns people off. And usually like yeah, I don't like fishy tasting fish, like but it's not that much. Like it fits with the flavor profile. They're like
Anchovies are
they're
delicious, man.
I
they're
love making
delicious.
stuff else.
Anchovies are great.
All right. You might really like these then.
Yeah, definitely.
I'll
I was
bring
trying
you
to hit
some.
around
I'll
with
bring
that,
you some when we.
If you ever got
Yeah.
spare olives,
Yeah,
bro, definitely bring them over.
No, yeah, these are great. So that's one of my wholesome traditions there. But like a funny tradition is usually you know before like the Thanksgiving dinner, I'll end up waiting for like my family to arrive, like because we all want to arrive together, so I'll end up waiting, for my parents to, to 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 finish up. My mom usually is making a pie, so I'll wait for her to make the pie, and then like all three of us will go head over to together, and my mom will have like the Thanksgiving parade on, and this is something that like goes back to like when I was a kid, and the Philadelphia Thanksgiving parade, man, is something pretty
Yeah,
unique.
no,
I don't know if
definitely.
you ever
That was another
watched it.
tradition. At least my grandmother really made sure it was.
Um, it is like kind of they have like these off Broadway like performers, and they like me and my mom essentially make fun of this because it's like these people like that like no one's ever heard of, and like they're kind of acting like they're big celebrities, singers, and like you'll just be watching and everybody's doing these like weird dance numbers and these costumes, singing Thanksgiving songs that no one's ever heard of. So it'll be like a shot of the art museum steps, and all of a sudden like you got like these four like singers in like scarves on the steps, and all these like people in like autumn colored leotards just like charge out from the sides, and like they're all like, Thanksgiving is the best time, it's a time for family, a time for friends, like and it's like the weirdest,
I like it.
it's like the funniest thing because it's like it's like a like, and I don't want to get too mean, but it's like really like bad songs with these like it's like at today's parade singing Calvin Keverson, and it's like some some guy in a scarf, and it's like
They're always wearing scarves
like,
too. I feel like scarves give you an identity.
and like they're just so committed to like this Thanksgiving role, and I forget who the one guy is that's like every year. I'm gonna look him up real quick. Philadelphia Thanksgiving parade singer. I just want to find him real quick. No, I'm not gonna be able to find him. But there's like a guy who's like every year, me and my mom just are like, he's on, like acting like we're like fans, like whatever his name is, like. But yeah.
It shows you how much fans you are.
Yeah, so like that's our like.
That's awesome though, man. That's fun.
That's like our family tradition, and then
that's what Thanksgiving's all about, man. Just having fun with the family.
That's like a few years ago. The Godfather used to be on IFC, and it would be turned on like at the dinner. Like we'd have the Godfather on at the Martino Thanksgiving.
Yeah, man. Thanksgiving is like it's like movie night. I feel like you got to put on all the great movies that we're watching your household, man. That's how it is with us. Like after dinner, it's just kind of like everybody chilling. TV's just on for a while.
No, definitely. But yeah, I'd say those are like my big traditions. I guess real quick, I just wanted to ask you, do you get involved with Black Friday?
All right, you just cut out. All I heard was Friday. So
Oh no,
just real
no,
quick.
you're good. Do you get involved with Black Friday?
I went out Black Friday shopping once in my life, and like it was the most boring experience ever because I'm not a shopper like that. I'd rather shop online, so I don't partake. No, I don't,
No.
unless it's online. If that
No,
counts,
me
I don't know if that's true
neither.
of Black
I
Friday
think
shopping.
I think it's a very disgusting tradition in our country, because just how people
Yeah,
how
like
people get so like insane about it, and like every year you hear
right.
like someone dies, like
Yeah, it's
it's
like
just like it's
it's just,
insane.
to me, it's not.
Like
Yeah, it's not something I want to
I
do.
don't know if you ever
Like,
saw like the South Park parody of like Game of Thrones, but like they had like instead of winter is coming, it's Black Friday is coming, and like
yeah, I know.
yeah, and like Randy Marsh joins the mall security, and they're sort of like the Night's Watch, or and like all the people, instead of like the White Walkers, it's like customers outside, and they're just acting like zombies, and they're like, yeah,
Which they turn into on Black Friday, man. Everybody
yeah,
turns like a zombie.
and then there was a Saturday Night Live sketch that they did years ago where they were like promoting the Black Friday sale, and they're like, first 10 people in line are given a free complimentary pair of box cutters. Like it's like
Everybody was probably going crazy. It was probably like a whole mob scene in there, man.
no, it was
Because I feel like when people
dude,
think that they're gonna be
it
like
was a Saturday Night Live.
getting a deal or
Saturday
something,
Night Live sketch though.
I don't know.
Yeah, like
Still got to give it some realism. Gotta,
nah, you're good, man. But so sorry, man. I just wanted to, no. But yeah,
yeah.
sorry, I got knocked off track there. But yeah, I don't know, man. Do you have anything else to add about Black Friday, or we'll move this?
Black Friday, no, but real quick on Thanksgiving. I mean, did you guys ever do like an Italian Thanksgiving dinner, like pasta, ziti, like meatballs, like? Because we did that a couple times.
Well, we just do a mix of them. Like I said, like we have mashed potatoes and turkey, but we also have like rice stuffing and escarole soup. Like
right.
We do a mix. We never like.
But there was never a time where you substituted like stuffing and mashed potatoes and all that for like Italian, like
No, we just
focaccia.
we just have both.
Pasta.
We just have both. Like it's
Yeah,
just a mix.
What's up,
yeah.
what's up.
It's
All right,
in a way it's a
question.
very Italian American Thanksgiving because it's both.
There you go. No, I definitely love that. Let me ask you this question: what do you like better, stuffing or mashed potatoes?
I might say stuffing if it's good.
Right, that's the thing. If it's
Yeah.
good, man, I feel like not everybody makes good stuffing.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, I think we've already exercised that topic. I feel like we can only talk about stuffing for like 5 seconds before we both start feeling some kind of guilt, some kind of shame.
Nah,
Nah,
we're good. But yeah, so other big news, man, and listeners, I can now confirm it's still in talks. But Mike, we at the Highly Original Podcast, and it's not fully confirmed yet, but I can say there's a good chance that we have booked Dennis to appear on the Highly Original Podcast.
I still can't believe it. Like, I'm just straight up honest with you. I'm still in shock. I'm still like nervous. Actually.
Yeah, so
like nervous isn't the word, though.
So like, just get ready, because Dennis will.
I don't know if we are ready.
Dennis will be revealed, and it is gonna happen.
I'm scared.
I'm
gonna leave it at that.
Well, I'm thrilled.
I'm excited.
I'm thrilled.
I'm nervous. I'm scared. This isn't just anybody. This is Dennis.
This is Dennis, and he shall be revealed here on the podcast, and it is going to be so highly original. All right, so our nostalgic topic today is Scott Pilgrim versus the World, as I mentioned at the top of the show. So that is the 2010 sort of, I don't know, Mike, help me out here. What do you say? Wikipedia is saying action, comedy, romantic, but it's such a unique film. It's hard to really say.
A lot of people say it's the most accurate comic book movie ever made. Like people,
okay.
And when you watch it, it's kind of like a comic book movie. I don't know what I'd call it. I definitely wouldn't call it a comedy, like alone, like or a dramedy. There's so much like that goes into it.
Yeah, no, yeah,
it's like unbelievable.
But it is, it was
like it has its aspects of like drama and comedy and like but just the action and like the effects, and especially for 2010, a lot of these effects like are pretty good. Like,
yeah, no,
all things considered.
No, yeah, I mean, yeah, definitely. And they're purposely campy effects too, but they're like really well done. It's hard to explain, guys. But the film was directed by Edgar Wright, who's a very very famous director. Shaun of the Dead, Baby Driver.
Right.
I think he did. Yeah, he did. He did Baby Driver. Yeah.
Okay, Baby Driver's good.
I'm good. I'm glad I checked there. I was almost like, oh, maybe he didn't. But yeah. But yeah, and it's based off the graphic novel series Scott Pilgrim by Brian Lee O'Malley, which I actually own that series. Admittedly, I haven't read all of them, but I read the first one.
I definitely want to check a few of them out.
So I can actually vouch. Yeah, it is pretty well adapted. I mean, the first book, I would say, is pretty much completely adapted into the film. Like, and even small details, man. Like, for instance, in the comic book, where the band has their practice space, there's a little picture on the wall of the Blessed Virgin Mary. And in the movie, in their practice space, there's a little picture of the Blessed Virgin Mary. Like, so
that's awesome.
They really do add small details. But I just want to run a little bit more about the synopsis real quick. You have such a star-studded cast. It really was like a star vehicle. And
right.
Beck was actually very much involved with the film's score. You know Beck, right?
Beck, like Beck?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't.
Oh, okay.
Is that short for something? Is that?
Yeah, I mean it's his first name, but he's a musician. He did, yeah.
No. Yeah.
You probably know his songs if you heard them. But
yeah, probably.
Yeah,
I listen to a lot of music.
Yeah, and yeah, let me go through some of this cast. But like, guys, this really is like the thing about this movie is it is like such a star-studded cast. Like you have Michael Cera, Mary Elizabeth Winstead, Kieran Culkin, Chris Evans, Anna Kendrick, Brie Larson, Aubrey Plaza, Jason Schwartzman. I mean, Bill Hader is the narrator. Like, there's so many people in this. Like, yeah. So.
No, it is truly star-studded for sure, yeah. Man.
And what's cool is it was kind of before a lot of these stars really broke out, and this was before Chris Evans became Captain America. I think it might even be like just before, around the same time, Aubrey Plaza got her role on Parks and Rec. Michael Cera he was already kind of a big star by now. But, and Kieran Culkin, he's now on, I think, one of the biggest shows on TV, Succession, HBO's Succession.
And I think he played one of the funniest characters in the film.
Oh, yeah, no, yeah.
Wallace.
Pretty funny. Well, Wallace, his roommate. But I'll just run down the the synopsis real quick. So, takes place in Toronto, and Scott Pilgrim is a 22-year-old bassist in a like kind of indie band. They're called Sex Bomb, and he is dating a high school senior, and a lot of people like are not too happy about that. They think like it's kind of like he needs to like that's not like a serious relationship. He needs to grow up and get kind of move on from his youth, because he's like kind of he's not doing anything except playing bass, and everything kind of changes when he meets this American, I guess immigrant, right? She's American. She's going to Canada, yeah, and her name is Ramona Flowers. She's sort of like a manic pixie dream girl type goth girl, and he kind of sloppily breaks up with his girlfriend Knives. And
Knives Chow.
Yeah, she's I guess Chinese Canadian, so that's why her name is like kind of not a common name. And then so when they start dating though, this is where it kind of starts to become like very much, as Mike was touching on, I think a little bit more. I know maybe it didn't, but it's kind of based off video games. And there's a lot of elements of fantasy, because she informs him that in order to kind of be with her, he's going to have to fight her 7 evil exes. So they it's sort of like a boss battles in like old style video games, where you have to fight one boss to get to the next one, to get to the next level. And it's so hard to describe, but it really, Mike, I think you'll agree with me, like it does such a good job mixing like realism with like surrealism.
Yeah, no, the two mesh like perfectly together, man.
And it really, they do film it like a comic book too. Like it's
and the effects like too. The effects, I mean, they add such an element to this. It's hard to really put into words for someone who hasn't seen this film, but it's so effects driven. Like you said, it's like such a fantasy like story that it's just kind of hard for people to understand.
They don't even need the effects don't even need to look that realistic, but they're still good effects.
They're
because it's like very stylized, like anime, old video game looking. So it's
right.
So obviously he has to go through this, and it lots of elements of comedy. And here, let me get my notes back up. They just fell off. Okay. Yeah. So I guess like something like, I really love this movie, and I remember I discovered it actually when I was 22 and I had come back from studying in Rome in college. And like I feel like I related to it, because it was like, oh man, what do I do now with my life? Like what's
the next chapter?
Yeah, like, because it's like, ah man, like so like it really like spoke to me, kind of, because a lot of what the film is about is like finding out who you are, and like, obviously like, the exes I think kind of represent like, Ramona's background, and sort of to represent like Ramona is the type of girl that Scott is nervous dating, and like he's trying to live up to her like league. You know what I mean? Like,
right, yeah, for sure. Like
and so a lot of this stuff.
Like he definitely wants to be with her.
Yeah, but it's like allegorical for stuff, like trying to be like, get to someone's league and get self-confidence, and for her it represents like, her baggage, or quote unquote, and yeah, it's really a story about finding yourself and like your self-confidence and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, Mike, I would say I got a few questions for you about it. Who would you say is your favorite character?
My favorite character, I would have to say, and I'm gonna go based on who really had me laughing the most.
Not the evil X.
Oh, no, I got
Sorry,
you. I got
yeah.
you.
Favorite character, because that's gonna be another question.
It's. I'm torn between, and like I don't want to sound like like I'm like an easy one, but I'm torn between Scott and Wallace.
Okay.
Because Scott and Wallace, I'm gonna have to go with Scott Pilgrim. I just think all his lines are like so perfectly executed. I mean,
No,
he
yeah.
really
I
had
mean,
me laughing
and
the
it's
most.
Michael Cera too. Like
Yeah,
Michael
exactly.
Cera
Like he's the man.
Has such great comedic timing.
Yeah, there are some parts in there. Like, exactly, comedic timing is the best way to put it. I mean, he's hilarious. Now who played Wallace? What's his name?
Kieran Culkin.
Kieran Culkin. Yeah, he was hilarious because like he'd always roast Scott Pilgrim.
Yeah, like.
But he always kind of had his back too, like in the background, always had his back, always cheering him on.
Yeah, Wallace.
And he's always there.
Yeah, Wallace is sort of like, well, isn't sort. Wallace is Scott Pilgrim's like older roommate who he lives with, and is very sarcastic and always has something to say. But as Mike said, like he does really care about Scott and wants to see him grow as a person.
Yeah, for sure. Like, you could tell there's like a brotherhood there, kind of.
No, I mean, yeah, I mean, I would say
If
my
you put
favorite.
it that way.
Oh yeah, no, he is like an older brother, definitely. I would say, man, I think Scott is probably my favorite character too.
Yeah.
and Wallace, like they are like.
Yeah, like,
they are pretty like great. So I guess
such a great dynamic.
I'll go with a shout out to where I want to find his because I want to get the actor's name. Stephen Stills, who is the lead singer and guitarist in Scott's band, played by
he was great.
Yeah, played by Mark Webber. He's very funny. He's very panicky and wants them to be taken seriously so bad, and is always like freaking out and trying to get their branding right,
Trying to get them on stage, and then when they get on stage, he starts panicking that they should go off stage, and then Scott will have to snap him back into reality. Like, no, you want this.
Like the part when they're up against that. What's the name of the one band that like that all their songs are like really emo and like they're like 2 seconds long?
Yeah, it's like Kyle and the Boys or something like that. Like,
yeah, it's Kyle.
Something like that.
It's Kyle and the Boys, but the drummer's like a little girl.
A little girl, yeah.
It's like an 8-year-old girl. But yeah, like they're playing like these like just like one song's like called "We Hate You, Please Die" or something.
Yeah, and that was aimed towards Wallace because like one of the funniest things. He's like, is she a boy too?
He's like, is that little girl one of the boys? And like the little girl just like flips him off. Like, that was great. You're right. Wallace is like he is a really funny character.
Yeah, he's like always there, like and just saying something crazy.
But I guess another shout out, real quick. Ellen Wong is Knives Chow. She does a good job playing.
She does a great job.
Yeah, like the one part when he breaks up with her, like that is like how she's like broken. Like that's And they start playing Teenage Dream by I think by T-Rex. Like that part's so sad.
I felt bad. Like I felt really bad. She ended up dyeing her hair like blue and
because she tries to become Ramona Flowers to get him back, and she tries dating his friend. young Neil,
Young Neil.
whose name is Neil, but because he's younger than them, they just call him Young Neil.
I think he's like 20.
Yeah, he's like not even like he's not even that young, but like yeah, that's a yeah.
And I like and like they had one of the songs they were singing. The first time you see them on stage when and like when Ramona's there and young Neil's sitting there and he's like trying to sing along with the song and like he gets the last word wrong and he's like so upset with himself. That was such a minor touch that worked perfectly, man.
I really do think it is like a masterpiece film. But my next question for you, Mike, is who is your favorite Evil X? And again, you can pick two, because I feel like that's often what we do.
Right. So I'm gonna have to go with Chris Evans' character for sure, man. What was his name?
That's a great Lucas Lee.
Lucas Lee, yeah, he was just something else, man. It was, and Chris Evans is a funny guy too, so you could tell he had a lot of fun with that role.
And it's like kind of against type, because Lucas Lee is he's sort of like a skateboarder, but he's like an action hero.
Yeah,
like actor. He's like an actor, and
he's got like 10 stunt doubles.
Yeah, like that's like part of his like all the X's have like their own unique ability, and his is that he has all these stunt doubles that are fighting with him. And I love the line when he's walking away because he thinks that his stunt doubles have defeated Scott, and his phone rings, he looks at his phone, he just goes, "Haha, that's actually hilarious." But he they don't you don't even know what was on the phone. It's just like he really does a good job playing just a jerk.
Yeah, for sure, man, for sure. He was like he had thrown Scott through like that backdrop of like New York or whatever the city was. And then he's like, "Oh,
it's Toronto.
Oh, it's Toronto.
And
I
believe it was filmed on location in Toronto too.
Oh, no way, man. He threw him through that like piece of that backdrop, and then he said,
the backdrop might be New York. Sorry,
it was something, set. Man. It was, it was like the curtain backdrop. I was gonna say, man.
But it's
Toronto. I'm not the best. No, no. And he threw him through, and then he's like, "Oh, you didn't hear the League of Evil X's or something like that?" Yeah. He's like, "Oh man, it's chilling. You're fine." And he goes like shake Scott's hand, and, like pick him up, and then he just like socks him right in the jaw. Just like such a jerk thing to do.
Yeah,
he was so proud of himself.
He's like, and they did up his eyebrows to look all like like cartoonishly evil. Like it's such a good,
And how he's defeated. How he's defeated is probably the funniest part of his whole character. It's like he's like staring at Scott's eyes, and then you got the over the shoulder shot from like Scott Pilgrim's perspective, and he's like, "Oh, the babes are watching right now. Like you have to skateboard down this railing." And you see like Chris Evans briefly look past Scott and then back right to his eyes to check if the babes are watching, and he's like, "Someone get my skateboard." And then like ultimately to his own demise,
because it's like
he has to impress the babes, man.
It's like this ridiculous railing that he's supposed to grind down, and it's like, it's goes down like hundreds of feet, like the steep cliff, essentially.
Yeah, basically, like he ends up like a mile away.
Yeah, but I'd say like my favorite Evil X's. I'm gonna pick two. I'd say, pardon me, Matthew Patel, played by Satya Baba, and Matthew Patel's the first Evil X, and it's when Scott Pilgrim and his band are playing. They're playing a show. He just crashes through the ceiling. And he starts like as he's attacking him, he's like doing a Bollywood number, and it's like so ridiculous. And he's like, because his whole thing is he's like a Bollywood guy, and he's like shooting fireballs at him, like it's crazy. But also, even though she's not one of the Evil X's, you got Brie Larson playing Natalie V. Envy Adams, also known as Envy
Yeah.
Adams. And that's Scott's evil ex.
Right,
and,
right.
And she used to, like, when they dated, she was different. Then she got big as a singer, and then, like, kind of broke up with
Push him
and,
aside.
Yeah, like, and
then met the other evil ex of
Yeah, she starts dating the evil ex.
Brandon Routh's character, the vegan and the vegan police.
the vegan bassist, and how Scott defeats him is he's able to get him to have, like, what, dairy creamer? And then,
it was like...
Then the vegan police appear and strip him of his vegan powers, because in this world, if you're vegan, you essentially have, like, telekinetic powers.
Yeah.
You know.
They were like, you had gelato on this date, you had chicken parm on this date.
He's like...
Because he was like, don't I get 3 chances? And they were like, yeah, you do.
But then they zap his powers away. And, like, something I love is, like, in the background, like, the camera is on Scott, but in the background, in slow motion, you see the vegan police, like, skipping away, and they jump up and they high-five each other.
High-five, yeah.
And you just hear them in the background going, like, yeah! Like,
I like the vegan police car is like a looks like a Prius with like a green cop light on it.
Yeah,
like
probably is. Like, it's it's such a spectacular film, and Brie Larson as Envy, she makes me laugh really hard in that, because she's like very, like, full of herself, and, like, just like like, very over dramatic, like when she's like calling him on the phone, like, I forget, he asked her a question, she's like she starts playing them, she's like, what? No.
Yeah.
And she's like dramatically, like, looking around, and she actually sings. That's her singing the song that her band Clash at Demon Head plays. Like, that's Brie that's Brie Larson's providing the vocals.
Yeah, no, she's talented, man.
Yeah. So I just wanted to kind of shout her out there. But yeah,
Scott's sister is another really funny character.
Yeah, played by Anna Kendrick. Yeah, who you guys will probably all know from Pitch Perfect.
She had me cracking up, man, with one line, and specifically, it's when her and Scott are on the swing set and it's like snowing out. She's trying to, like, talk to him, and, like, she's getting all this information out of him, just being a big sister, like being a nice, wholesome big sister. And then she gets, like, a call, and she answers it, and, like, and you know it's about Scott. And she walks off. She's like, "Oh, hey, I know, it's so pathetic, right?" And then it's just like, what the? And I like how Wallace is always giving her, like, an update. And, like, when he wasn't even conscious in bed. Like,
yeah, he's like, he texted her, like, like what Scott just told him.
He said,
but
man.
But you also have, I just want to shout her out, Allison Pill as Kim Pine. Allison Pill, she was in, I think, The Newsroom, and you guys would recognize her from. I just want to make sure I shout all these people out.
No, for sure, man.
It really is. It is such a star vehicle, or star-studded cast. And you also got Jason Schwartzman as the final evil X. So here, spoiler alert time, guys. As Gideon Graves, and he's like a hipster, like, jackass. Like, he's like the worst. And, like, I think he does a really good job. I really like Jason Schwartzman.
He, like, treats Ramona like a pet. Like, he's like,
oh yeah. Yeah, no, he's, like, terrible.
Yeah.
But he's actually the son of Talia Shire, Jason Schwartzman.
Oh, no way.
And Talia Shire, who's famous on her own for being Adrian in Rocky, and
right,
playing Connie Corleone in The Godfather.
That's crazy.
Her brother is Francis Ford Coppola, and her nephew is Nicolas Cage. So
wow,
from the Coppola
star-studded family.
Yeah. Yeah. So I just wanted to share that little fact with you. But yeah, and in the end, Scott, he defeats Gideon in like a sword fight. It's very like in this like nightclub, and it's very dramatic. And in the end, at first he tries to defeat Gideon with the power of love, but then he really learns that it's about the power of self-respect. He gets the sword of self-respect and defeats him because it's, it was about Scott needing to accept himself.
Right. Because he ended up like dying, and then like he gets like a second shot.
He has a second life, as in a video game. But yeah, so he kind of learns it's not about like getting Ramona. It's about, accepting myself, and then with that, I'll be able to be comfortable dating Ramona, and
right.
And they end up together, and that's the, and he reconciles with Knives, and
Yeah, Knives, man, that was really sad when they were like on that dance machine for the second time, and Scott Pilgrim just had like no enthusiasm, like no pep in his step. And Knives was so happy and like just so innocent.
Yeah,
it was like,
but it's like in the end, like he wasn't seriously dating her. Like, it was. And Wallace, that was like all part of it.
And something that made me really, say, oh man, Wallace is a good dude, is when he was like straight up like, all right, like I'll leave on the I'll leave for the night on the condition that you break up with Knives. Like she's like a good kid, like don't lead her on. I was like, yeah, he's a nice good guy, man. Like he said some harsh things.
Because Scott was gonna have Ramona over that night.
Right.
Yeah, that's why he was like, yeah, you gotta. But Scott didn't want to break up with Knives because he didn't want to hurt her feelings. That was like his thing. But yeah, no. So in the end, I think, Mike, you and I pretty much agree that this is a fantastic movie.
Sure, man.
I hope we did it justice.
And if we didn't, which I think we did, but if we didn't, I mean, I would not mind talking about it again in a future episode. Scott Pilgrim vs. the World is great. I mean, there's so much that goes on in that film.
Yeah, and it's such an immersive film. Like, it's so good, and honestly, it's one of those movies I wanted more from the characters. Like, I want to see. I'm not really a big sequels guy, but like with this one, man, I'm like, I want to see those characters. I really cared about these characters.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that, because I was going to bring up the fact that like the ending, it straight up says continue ? And then it goes 5, 4, like it did in the dancing game, and I thought that was a great way
in a video game,
great way to lead off to a sequel for sure.
I mean, I think that something that they could do is adapt the film, to a series, like do all the books in a series. That way you could adapt all the books and get all the story.
Right.
Just because I love the series so much, I just want more of it. But the film itself is fantastic. So
no, it really is, man. It's one of those films that you can give it a sequel, but that first one, man, the Scott Pilgrim vs. the World will just always be a classic.
No, yeah. But I guess with that, Mike, I think we're ready to wrap it up. So thank you for listening, guys, and as always, follow us on Instagram, and share us around with your friends. And yeah, I'll see you next time, and happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving, guys, and then next week we'll be coming back live at the studio, so it won't sound like this. Happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy your time with your family. Take care.